bring you despair. Ruination to all.
It's a fighting game, it's an RPG, and it's blatant fan service. Dissidia Final Fantasy is all of those things, and that blend makes it a game almost anyone can get into. It's also huge. There's a ton of game in here, and it's filled with little features that make it really shine. Dissidia doesn't always soar. The camera gives you some great dramatic views, but gets stubborn in the confined battle arenas. And the story is a thin shell that reduces each famous character to a cliché. But these characters fight flashy cinematic battles that light up the screen as if the world hangs in the balance every time. And the way Dissidia is constantly rewarding you will keep you coming back for more.
You're a no-good, self-centered old bastard! But I realized, the old man I know is the guy that always wins. The toughest guy in the world. That's who I have to beat!
The skinny little kid talking tough. You better not regret it later.
Dissidia is essentially a fighting game, but most fighting games keep players closely confined. Here, you get a large arena and freedom to run and fly about colorful arenas culled from various Final Fantasy games. The characters, of course, all come from those games as well. Heroes and villains from Final Fantasies 1 through 10 are represented, and dedicated players will unlock some surprise additions as well. But while the fighting may not be as deliberate as in traditional fighters, the freedom of movement it affords make battles feel smooth and carefree. And combat looks vibrant and exciting, making Dissidia almost as much fun to watch as it is to play. The combat doesn't have the depth of a pure fighter, but the various characters still provide a lot of variety. Between Jecht's powerful close-range attacks and Zidane's aerial acrobatics, you'll probably find multiple fighters that suit your style. Still, the combat presents intricacies you'll need to come to grips with. For example, each fighter has a pool of brave points, and brave attacks steal from your opponent's pool and add to yours. The more brave points you have and the fewer your opponent has, the more damage standard attacks do. You also have an EX meter that fills as you do damage and collect the glowing EX cores that periodically appear in the arena. Filling your EX meter lets you execute a really powerful burst attack. If you manage to land one, you'll be treated to a quick time event and a dramatic scene in the grand Final Fantasy tradition.
And for the final touch, fly away!
There are other battle subtleties to get used to as well, like wall rushes and the rails within levels that you grind across. There are a few issues nonetheless. The camera gets messy in indoor levels and makes it hard to tell exactly what's going on sometimes. For example, there are mid-air chases in which evading and landing attacks require good timing. In the confined levels, the camera may land directly behind a wall and block your view at a crucial moment.
Here we go.
The combat is fun, though it's only part of the picture. The story mode is a deep and important part of Dissidia. The tale tells a story of the forces of Cosmos versus those of Chaos. You'll guide each good character through his or her take on the same story, which involves a search for crystals. The story is surprisingly uninteresting for a Final Fantasy game, and the long-winded dialogue doesn't really go anywhere. Another story, Shade Impulse, is thankfully more interesting, though the characterizations still remain relatively shallow. In any case, you move a battle piece across a game board to take treasure, engage enemies, and move the story forward. More importantly, you'll earn gil and level up your characters. Then you can buy various weapons and items from the in-game shop. These only affect your stats, so you won't see new gear on your fighters, but it adds an addicting RPG twist that will keep you pressing forward. And because you also earn new moves that you can slot, you'll discover that even a single character can offer a lot of variety. In fact, Dissidia is constantly handing out rewards like candy. You earn points that you can use to buy Chaos characters to use in other modes. You get real-time rewards based on how long and how often you play, new costumes, new accessories. Dissidia just keeps giving. There's also an arcade mode that sends you through a series of opponents, and an unlockable battle coliseum in which you fight a never-ending series of characters. There's a so-called online lobby too, but don't let that fool you. Dissidia has no online play, but you can play a friend in ad hoc mode using either your leveled up characters or a standard arcade mode character. There is an odd imbalance here if you want to play leveled characters, however, because you only play Cosmos characters in the story mode. You can level up Chaos characters elsewhere, but at first you're more likely to be playing good guy versus good guy. We did experience a bit of multiplayer lag, but it wasn't significant. And once you play someone, you can access their friend card and play their ghost, which mimics their playing style. When you want a break, you can check your in-game email to see if Moogles have sent you any gifts, or check which in-game achievements you've earned, or view match replays and edit them into a movie that you can then export as a video file. There's simply a lot of game here. There were also some opportunities missed and a few flaws that could have used some fixing. But Dissidia Final Fantasy is a legitimately great hybrid game that just keeps giving to you the more you play.
Breaking my limit. This is it.
Dissidia Final Fantasy is a legitimately great hybrid game that just keeps giving to you the more you play.